A while back, Ruben and I received an interesting email with an offer to take part in a study at Sheffield Hallam University, and it was looking to see whether body scanning could predict cycling performance.
Traditionally, changes in a cyclist's body shape will be measured simply with a tape measure around the thigh, and while this is accurate, it can lead to subtle changes being missed. Alice Bullas, a PhD student, has been working on a system to measure body composition in much greater detail.
Taking place at their morphology lab in Sheffield, the study comprised of 3 steps. The first step, and probably the most important, is the body scan, which used a variety of cameras costing about 80 grand to make a detailed picture of our legs. The next steps were the controls to basically see whether the body scanning could actually predict our cycling performance. So the second thing we did was a body composition analysis. You kind of stand on a thing, hold these two controls, and it measures things like your body fat percentage, the amount of water in your body and your muscle mass, any imbalances in your legs. And the final thing was a peak power test on a cycle ergometer. We did 4 6-second max sprints while seated. We made sure we were fully rested between all of the efforts.
So for clarity, Alice's cameras were there to predict our performance. The tests were there to measure our performance.
Now, this technology is currently only available to academics for research and things like that. But the really interesting thing, as you're about to find out, is that soon this technology should be available to everyone in their phones and their tablets.
Body scanning can be really useful in cycling because it means we can assess change in a much greater detail. Normally you might find that if you're training, you could lose some of the data or some of the information about how your body's changed because of these simple measures. Body scanning allows you to explore that in a greater way. So at the moment we've got a case study in, and we found that over a very long period of about 8 months, their leg size has actually changed by 2.5%. which is huge, which is an amazing change. But actually taking the simple measures, we'd have only found there to be a 0.5% change, just because that upper girth measure, which is a traditional measure for thigh size, only takes into account that very small area of the leg, and you'd have lost all that information. So it would be really useful in cycling to monitor how body shapes change throughout training phases, throughout training seasons, to see if in recruitment or talent identification, we can use body scanning as a way of sourcing junior athletes into academy programs. What makes this technology even more exciting is that 3D body scanning technology is now becoming available in consumer products, so like telephones, so the HTC One, as well as tablets, so like the Google Tango tablet that's just been released. This means that you can capture this depth data and these 3D scan images on your telephone or on your tablet at home. Now, although we're still waiting for the software and the apps to be developed for you to capture this, it really won't be long, and this will be where the technology really booms, because you'll be able to use this at home, your coach will be able to use it for you, and it will mean that you can capture body size, changes and adaptations in a way we've never been able to do before. Although it's early days in the research, so far we have found some interesting results. We've been able to demonstrate that thigh volume and lower leg volume relates to performance, peak power performance, better than your normal girth measures. So this finding has only been demonstrated in mountain bikers so far, but this is quite understandable because mountain bike cycling comprises of so many sprint parts that they're used to producing peak power on regular occasions throughout a performance, but also regularly throughout that performance. So we're hoping that this is a similar case within multiple disciplines, but it'll be really interesting to find out what else comes out.
In isolation, our results don't really mean much, but for your viewing pleasure, here they are.
So on the 6-second sprints, I surprisingly, as a skinny person, scored 1,527 watts. That was the highest power I recorded during that test. I thought that was pretty good, but Ruben, big strong legs, scored 1,889 watts, which is a hell of a lot, and shows me why when we cycle together, he basically stuffs me in a sprint all day long.
But it's a different story on the climbs, and the body composition analysis didn't really tell us anything that we didn't already know. Good sprinters have bigger legs, good climbers don't have such big legs. Again, for clarity, we're not here to report on our individual results. We're here to look at the technology behind this ongoing study.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is that Alice's study is going to work on a much larger basis. It's going to recruit as many cyclists as possible to build up a picture with the body scan results of how their peak power tests relate to the size of their legs and their measures that have been taken from the body scan. And in the end, this should allow her to model for a huge range of performance across loads of different cycling disciplines and loads of different shapes and sizes of riders.
So I really like my tech, and I think it would be a really cool innovation to have on a smartphone, just to be able to measure where your body's at during a training season. But what do you think, as maybe a bit more of a purist?
Yeah, so I'm not quite as into my tech as Ruben, but I agree, because the idea that I could track kind of the way my body shape changes throughout a season. So I do a lot of mountain biking in the summer, so that's probably the time when my legs are going to be a bit more muscular, whereas I do hill climbs during the autumn, so that's about being really light, when they might be a bit leaner. I'll be able to kind of track those changes in my body shape throughout the season. And yeah, if it is just on a phone, you can point it at me and be like, there we go, there's my numbers. That sounds pretty good to me.
So while the study didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know about ourselves as riders, it was really quite exciting to be part of a study where we can see some real, genuine innovation merging technology and cycling. So we're just really keen to see where it goes in the future.